Hey, I'm Ryan.
I'm Louisa.
On today's podcast, Louisa stumps me with a few of her questions, and I managed to answer a few.
And this is Pastor Ryan on Answering Louisa.
Hey, welcome back. We're glad to have you with us. Louisa, before you ask your first question, I want to ask you, where do you get your questions? Where do they come from?
Oh gosh, honestly, it can be anytime, any place. Most of the time, it's when you're preaching.
Okay.
And it's like on the subject, and I'll just be like, oh, well, how did that happen?
So what you're saying is I leave out big pockets of information that are necessary when I'm preaching. She's like, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that. Like, you could do a little more preparation, Barnett. Is that about right?
I mean, I wouldn't put it that way. That sounds harsh.
Yeah. Well, you're nice, so you wouldn't put it that way. But I took it that way. Might as well just go ahead and launch in with another question then.
All right. When did Ash Wednesday start?
On a Wednesday?
Like, what year?
It started on a Wednesday. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
That's it?
I don't know.
There's nothing special?
Louisa, I don't know. I don't know when it started.
You're supposed to know these things.
I know, I should. It's probably one of those ones that I should know, and I don't. You know who knows?
Who?
Google. Google knows.
Definitely knows.
There are very few of these questions that you asked that I would be comfortable Googling the answer to. When did Ash Wednesday start? That one I would be comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you other things about Ash Wednesday. I feel stupid right now, but anyway, thanks for that. Okay, keep going. Next question.
Okay. I have to find the next page.
Okay.
Oh, these are the hard ones.
Show them your book. Just hold it up there. Look at. Oh. We would sit down after class, and Louisa would say, "I have 17 questions tonight," and I'd be like, "Let me text my wife." Then I'm going to be a little late. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Why do we have to suffer for what Adam and Eve did?
That's a really good question, and maybe let me reject the premise of the question and say that I think that we suffer not for what they did, but for what we do. So Adam and Eve certainly made a decision to rebel against God, to decide what would be moral, immoral for themselves. But the honest truth is, every daughter of Eve and son of Adam has made the same choice on our own. And so I would say, while the first man sinned and brought sin into the world that way, every person after has done the same. And the consequences of that, I mean, it gets dumped on us. Yeah. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it is really, I mean, we say it's like, it may seem unfair, but if we're honest, it's really pretty accurate. Like, all Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That means me, and especially you, asking me a question I can't answer about Ash Wednesday live on TV. Thanks a lot, Lisa.
You're
all
welcome.
right.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Next question, please.
Okay, if I can read my handwriting, I will ask another question.
All right.
How did the Romans come up with the cross?
Man, I should have paid more attention in my church history classes. I should have read Justo Gonzalez more closely. He's a famous church historian. I don't know. I could only fathom a guess that the Romans were quite creative in their methodology of exploring the grand design of human suffering and pain and inflicting it on people. I will say that the cross was a particularly cruel way of taking someone's life. The Romans had many ways of ending people's lives, but the cross was the most painful, humiliating way that they could come up with.
That's cheerful.
Isn't that? You asked about, it'd be like, tell me, I want to know more about the electric chair, Pastor Ryan. Tell me all about, I mean, because that's what the cross was. It's crazy because, like, look, we wear it, right? And here's your other book, and it's got the cross on it too. We hang them on our walls and we make them into these things of inspiration and beauty. But the truth is, they were an instrument of humiliating death and torture in Jesus' day, which to me is also something that's, you get both. You get the horror of it when you see it, but then you get the incredible part of who Jesus is, that he redeems everything, even the electric chair. He redeems it, and he takes it from being this instrument of death and pain and torture and makes it into something beautiful and awe-inspiring that gives us hope and becomes like a cornerstone for us. That's Jesus' nature. and if he can do that for a cross, what he does for us is just even beyond. Yeah. Let's take another.
All right.
Nothing historical, please.
In the Bible, it says that Jesus was at the right hand of the Father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why that? Why the right hand?
Well, they like to play ping pong.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, not really. Not really. Nobody call in or anything. But so it's a metaphor. The right hand is the hand of power. So because most people who are right-handed, that's their dominant hand. It's the hand of strength. So it's just it's like a euphemism. It's a saying. The right hand is the hand of power or authority, the hand of judgment. It's the one that delivers. So when it says Jesus seated at the right hand of God, it's saying that he's in the seat of authority, the seat of power, that kind of thing. It's like, have you ever heard his nose got red? It means he got mad. There's certain sayings that mean things. The right hand of God or the right hand of whatever indicates authority and power. So it's really a way of saying that Jesus is in a place of authority and power.
I think maybe I came up with that because I was a little wounded because I'm left-handed. So
might
be part of it.
Yeah, I think that could be. I think that could be. So Jesus is at the left hand of a left-handed God, but God made us right-handed for a reason. I'm teasing you. I'm obviously teasing you. God is neither right-handed nor left-handed. It's just a saying.
Why did God strip Satan of his powers if he knew he was bad?
Why didn't he strip him of his powers? Oh, yes, that's a good question. It has to do with free will. So angels, like humans, were endowed by God with a type of free will. What seems to be clear is that angels and humans experience a different type of free will, or at least for whatever reason, angels, once they express their free will in rebellion against God, are not able to be redeemed for some reason. I'm not sure I know why, but it seems clear that that's the case. So God but freed up free will requires that God allow it to be expressed. Allow it to be expressed. Same reason why he knew that you and I would sin, fall short, just like we talked about earlier, but he still left us with the free will. Why? Because the only way we could ever use it to provide faithful service and covenant relationship with him is if we are in possession of it. So for the same reason, the angels had to be allowed their own free will so that they would be free to choose to serve God faithfully. Satan chose not to serve God faithfully, but instead to try to put himself into God's place, and thus his fall from grace. The only difference between Satan and Adam and Eve is that after the fall, God launched a cosmic plan of redemption for Adam and Eve, for humanity. And that may be a topic for exploration another day, but that's why he didn't strip him, even knowing what he was going to do, for the same reason he left will in our hands. Which seems like probably a pretty good place to stop for the day. Yeah. That's a deep thought. But I think a helpful one for us to walk out pondering, which is consider how much God desires to be in a relationship that is freely offered, whether from angels or humans or, puppy dogs or whatever, that he's willing to permit us the ability to choose to create so much havoc in hopes that we might choose to be in relationship with him. I mean, he loves us big time. That becomes abundantly evident, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of us more than others. I have a sticker that says, Jesus loves you, but I'm his favorite. All right, I think that's good for today. Thanks for tuning in.